Hi, I'm Dr. Chip Bennett. This is Dr. Warren Gage, and we are discussing comedy in the Christian life. As we've said often in many of our videos, Warren, comedy is a literary genre that takes people from low to high, where tragedy takes people from high to low, and most of us see comedy as a sitcom, something funny, and don't invest a whole lot of effort into it. But the idea of comedy in terms of the genre is actually quite significant. Let's talk about comedy in regards to the resurrection. Tell me some thoughts on that.
The core of the Christian faith is the resurrection.
Absolutely.
If Christ is not raised, then we're done.
We're done.
So, and it is the most comedic thing of all, that he was dead, but he was lifted up. So you can't get any lower than death.
No, and the Jews couldn't understand it because they couldn't. Right. A crucified Messiah could not be their Messiah. Yeah.
But he comes from death to life. That's the most comedic thing of all. So resurrection is the most comedic thing. And if we really believe that changes the way we live.
That's right.
It changed the way the church in the first century lived.
That's right.
For example, back in those days, they really didn't have germ theory, but they understood that plagues would come into the cities where they were tightly packed together.
That's
and
right.
Diseases are communicated more easily. And when plagues would come into the city, everybody scattered and went into the country.
That's right.
To flee.
Except for
death.
the Christians.
But Christians stayed, and they ministered to the sick. Why were they able to do that? Because they did understand that you would catch the disease.
That this life wasn't all there was.
That's the whole idea. The Christians understood that death is the way to life, and they stayed and ministered to the sick, and God blessed that as people came to faith.
Sure. And you see that in the way that they responded for the first 300 years to the Roman oppression before Constantine made Christianity the imperial religion. You see the fact that the Christians had no problem being martyred for their faith because they were convinced this world was not all that there was. Think about that for a minute. If we truly, honestly, in our hearts believed that this world was not all that there was and that we one day were going to enter into resurrection, everything would take on a different view, would it not?
The way you estimate everything changes. It changes everything. Resurrection changes everything. So the way that you live and the challenges of this life, if I can be very specific,
sure.
It's not to gather your gold and your dried food and your guns and go off to Montana.
That's right.
If everything collapses, and eventually everything will, because it's a world under judgment, what we do is we stay in the cities. We work with the elders. We work with the people that are pastors, and we work with our church community, the deacons, and we do everything we can to help people survive through these times.
That's right.
Even in defiance of our own life expectancy, because we're testifying, we're living out the belief that we have, which is finally comedic and ultimately comedic, that there is another world, and death is the door to another world.
That's right.
It's not the end. So we live very practically, very differently than the rest.
That's right, because of resurrection. And as we discuss the Bible and comedy, I just would like to say to those that are watching, every night when you go to sleep, you shut your eyes and you wake up in the morning and you open them to the new day, and you go to sleep every night and wake up. God has so ordered the world that He's embedded resurrection within all of us, that one day we will ultimately close our eyes for a final stay to where we will open them up to resurrection. Hope you've enjoyed this segment again on comedy and Christian life. Thanks for watching.